got some must-see Raiders rumors after the Las Vegas Raiders win over the Baltimore Ravens, and I know that the Raiders got the dub. You're 1-1. Now what we got to be looking forward to is what are the next steps for the Raiders going up against the Carolina Panthers, but to me, there are some six trending story topics. If you want to see some just win babies also, you are in the right place. Let's go to the first one here. This is Gardner Minshew's team. This, to me, is for just win, babies. Believe it, baby. The moment that Max Crosby pulled Gardner Minshew and said, hey, man, we believe in you. You're the right man for the job. All these things. I think it's just kind of exemplified of why the Raiders decided to go with Minshew and why he is the starting quarterback. Him bringing this team back, which one of the biggest plays, one of the biggest drives was the 9-play, 70 yards, touchdown drive, which really kind of got the momentum going. But the Raiders and coaches, they want Minshew to be the guy. And, I know in the offseason there was a lot of Aidan O'Connell, Gardner Minshew talk, but, actions speak louder than words. The Raiders went out and signed Gardner Minshew the same day they went out and signed Christian Wilkins. They tried to trade up for a quarterback. That did not work. The Raiders want Gardner Minshew to be the guy. And I'm also responsible for this. And I think that the nation is somewhat responsible for this. But, if we want Minshew to have the confidence, and if we want to see the best version of Gardner Minshew, which is when he's in his bag and he's got all that confidence, the Minshew that you saw in the fourth quarter of that game, we need to be able to believe in him. You need to be able to believe in him. Raider Nation needs to be able to believe in him. Everybody that rocks the silver and black needs to be able to believe in Minshew. So here's my thing. I promise to fully support Gardner Minshew until he gives me a reason not to. I don't want to hear, is it time to start Aidan O'Connell? I don't want to hear, is it AOC time? You're either buying in with Minshew or you can go somewhere else. You want to talk about Derek Carr? What, should he be this team's quarterback? No. I care about Gardner Minshew, and this is his team. And if you're not going to get on board, then jump off ship, because Minshew deserves some love. He's got a 77.5 completion percentage. He's thrown for 533 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions against the Baltimore Ravens, who I still think are one of the best teams in the NFL, and the Chargers right now, who look like one of the better teams in the NFL. Minshew, in terms of where he ranks amongst other NFL quarterbacks so far, he's first in the NFL in completion percentage. He's second in the NFL in passing yards. He's first in the NFL in pass completions. He's tied for 11th with 2 passing touchdowns, and it's been actually a lower scoring year thus far in terms of overall points. The defense looks like it's playing a lot better. Quarterback rate, 15th in the NFL, 95.6. My point is this. If you told me that Gardner Minshew finishes the NFL season with the 15th best QBR rating and he's doing the things that he's doing, I'm sitting up here going, shit, we're going to win 10, 11, 12 games. That's how good of a defense this is. So if you support Gardner Minshew, I want you to click that like button. If this video doesn't get 5,000 likes, 10,000 likes, and I see that this thing gets 20, 30, 40,000 views, then shame on you. It's time to buy into Gardner Minshew, whether you like it or not, because he did really help out this team win this game. It's the guy AMP wants. It's the guy Max wants. And I think after the game we saw Devontae have, I wonder if it's the guy Devontae wants. Let's go to the next story here of a must-see rumor. Is it time to bench Divine Deablo? I'm going to give this one 2 just win babies. I'm going to say people are talking. I know that Deablo left that game against the Baltimore Ravens with a hip injury. Antonio Pierce doesn't know exactly when he's going to be able to come back. But that also has to go in this conversation. If Divine is unable to practice all week, do you trust him to go out there against the Carolina Panthers, a team that's 0-2, a team that is desperate, a team that's going to have Andy Dalton? Andy Dalton is 3-0 all-time against against the Raiders, in case you didn't know. But Diablo can't tackle, and I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen. But Divine Deablo can't tackle. He has shown really no signs of improvement. And if anybody's going to hit me with but Mitch, Divine had a 70 overall PFF grade this past week, then you didn't watch the game. I don't know what PFF was watching, because if you're going to tell me that Divine Deablo had a better game than Robert Spillane, guess what? You don't know ball. And that's what PFF is trying to tell me. Divine just continuously is not in the right spot, and it doesn't look like he's understanding or grasping the Patrick Graham defense. So if I'm the Raiders right now, I would consider potentially putting Divine Deablo on the bench. But here's your opportunity to be the GM. Here's your opportunity to be Antonio Pierce, be the coach. Say it with your chest. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. It's not an easy topic, but sometimes those are the topics that you got to discuss. Are you starting or are you benching Divine Deablo in week 3? If he's healthy, I'm going to continuously start him. And the reason is there's 2. 1, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And even though I do think that Divine is a little bit of a weak spot right now, I'm not sure if I trust Tommy Eichenberg. I'm not sure if I trust even a player, like an Amari Gaynor, like a Kanai Malga, like Amari Burney, whoever it else is. But we're going up against a team like the Carolina Panthers, a team that we should be able to beat. But as we saw this past week, no win is given in the NFL. And because the Raiders defense is playing at such a high level, I'll continuously start Divine Deablo, even if he can't practice this entire week. But hey, you're on the hot seat. Let's go to Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy has finally figured out how to work this Raiders offense. They were bad for a majority of the third quarter in that game. And then guess what? They got a lot better. I'm going to give you my answer here in just a moment, but I do want to tell you about our awesome sponsor, ZBiotics, and who here likes to have a good time? I like to have a good time. Heck, we had a hell of a time on our Raiders watch party up against the Baltimore Ravens. And if you're also down for a good time, then I need you to listen up, because ZBiotics, they're here to sponsor a good time. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I believe the hype. And with this technology, they will release different products that they have nothing to do with alcohol. So stay in the loop and go to zbiotics.com/chatsports. You can also scan the QR code that is on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code ChatSports at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. Pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. So Raider Nation, remember to head to zbiotics.com/chatsports and use this code ChatSports at checkout for 15% off. That's ChatSports is the code. Thank you to ZBiotics for sponsoring this episode and for sponsoring the good times here on the Raiders Report. So Luke Getsy, has he figured it out? I'm going to give this one 2 just win babies, and maybe it's just the Raider fan in me. It's like my head tells me I don't think he's figured it out. My gut and my heart is telling me, well, I'm hoping that he hasn't figured it out, because the offense was at its best when it was throwing the football, and I don't know if it was a situation of they had to throw the football, so that's what made Luke Getsy have to stretch the football down the field. I don't want to see any more dinking and dunking. I don't want to see any more of this Gardner Minshew finishing a game with 4.5 yards per attempt. Like, that can't happen. What we have to see, though, is the offensive line definitely figure that one out. We got to get the running game going here, because right now the Raiders are averaging 2.5 yards per carry. They might have the worst rushing game in the NFL. In fact, they are ranked dead last in terms of rushing yards per game. But when Getsy calls plays to win a football game, and you know what I'm talking about, like, you're not going to win in the NFL if you play scared. You're not going to win in the NFL if you go out there not to make mistakes. When Getsy went out there and called a play, when he was calling plays to be aggressive, when he was putting his nuts out there and saying, I'm not afraid to lose this game, that's when the Raiders were at their best. You know why? Because that's the mentality Gardner Minshew is. That's the mentality of this entire Raiders team. That's the mentality that you need to win football games. So has he figured it out? I hope. If we see that fourth quarter version of the Raiders, this is going to be a tough team to beat. Let's go to 3 more trending topics here. Brock Bowers. He could set the rookie tight end reception record this upcoming season. I'm going to give this one 3 just win babies, and I'm going to say that it's pretty likely. I'm not going to say it's a lock. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but based off of what you've seen so far, you got to be feeling pretty good that he's got a shot to do it. He's got 15 receptions this season. Sam LaPorta set the record actually last year on the Detroit Lions with 86 receptions, and Bowers is just clearly one of the main focal points on offense. It is Devontae Adams 1, Brock Bowers number 2, Everybody else can figure it out after that. Quite frankly, I think that they are going to try to do their best to get Bowers 7, 8, 9, 10 targets a game. And so far, it's been pretty good. When targeted, he's bringing in the football. 15 catches, 156 yards. Those 156 yards right now lead the National Football League amongst all tight ends in receiving yards. Now, Chugs is rolling his eyes. He knows I like to do this. But the reason why I'm doing it is just to show you if he continues to do what he's doing, he's going to finish this season with 128 receptions. The question was, will he break the NFL single-season record for most receptions by a rookie tight end? He's not only on pace to break it, he is on pace to shatter it. So how many catches will Bowers finish this season with? Do you think he's going to be at 120-something? That's a rich number, I know. You are going to get hit with a YouTube ad break. After that break, I'm going to give you my answer. The number that I'm going to go with here for Bowers, just based off of what I've seen from 2 games, I'm going to go with 90 catches. If you continuously get 5 catches a game on top of what he already has, that's somewhere around 90 grabs, which is way more than I originally thought he was going to have. I thought Michael Mayer was going to be a little bit more involved, but it's clear Brock Bowers is a special talent. Next thing here, the offensive line. Do the Raiders have a bottom 5 offensive line? Honestly, I almost could make this to they have the worst offensive line in the NFL because this one is 4 just win babies. Believe it, baby. You can't talk about winning in the trenches as much as Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce do and then put this sorry-ass offensive line out there on the field. I thought that Andres Pete would be better at left guard than Cody Whitehair, and somehow Andres Pete was worse than Cody Whitehair. In fact, I think I owe Whitehair an apology. The Raiders' offense moved the football more effectively when Whitehair was out there in the second half of that game. The Raiders have allowed 9 sacks this season. That is tied for most in the National Football League. They are averaging 49.0 rush yards per game. That is dead last in the National Football League. James Craig, Luke Getsy, Antonio Pierce, y'all need to be able to figure this one out, because if you continuously can put this product out on the field, you're not going to win games. And I'm going to say this right now. I don't know what's going on with Jackson Powers-Johnson. Antonio Pierce on Monday said that he still doesn't have an update. He's being listed with an illness. I don't know if that has to do with concussions, but the Raiders need him. And the Raiders need somebody on this offensive line to step up because nobody's been good. Colton Miller hasn't been good. Andres Pete was bad. Cody Whitehair's been bad. Andre James has been bad. Dylan Parham's actually been pretty good. Dylan Parham right now, I would say, according to PFF, is probably top 10 in that overall grades. Thayer Munford hasn't been good. Is it time for DJ Glaze? Is it time for Jordan Meredith? I don't know what it is, but bottom line, we got to figure something out because the offensive line is a major issue. And then the final thing that we're going to discuss is this. Is Colton Miller cooked? I've been seeing it. I've been hearing it. I'm going to give this one only one just win, baby, and I'm going to say that there's a small shred of truth to this. But what people have to realize is Miller is struggling. That's a fact. Gave up 3 sacks against the Ravens. He's given up 5 sacks already this season, which is the most sacks that he's given up since 2019. When he was a rookie in 2018, he was dealing with a lot of different injuries, was able to play through those injuries, and he gave up 16 sacks that year. Came back the following year, gave up 8 sacks. Since then, has never given up more sacks, and we're already only 2 games in. 2 games in, 5 sacks allowed to some people, me included, who I thought was one of the best left tackles in the National Football League. And if there's one thing that I can say, he's not 100% healthy. I don't care what Miller says. I don't care what the medical staff says. Colton Miller, based off the way he's playing with one shoulder. He's not healthy at all. Here's what AP had to say, though, on Colton Miller. It's tough. I don't care how many years you've been in the league. If you miss all of the offseason, mini camp, training camp, and then you come back week 1, and here you go, you got to knock off some rust. Let's be honest. I think he's seeing that. He's doing that. He's a pro. He's understanding he's one of our team leaders. We play well when, obviously, our O-line and Colton Miller are playing well. To me, if you're wondering what's wrong with Colton Miller, I'm going to say that I don't think that he's 100% healthy. I think that shoulder is still impacting his ability to really pass block especially. He is rusty right now. When you don't practice the entire offseason, you're not ready to go. And then we always talk about chemistry, whether it's certain positions on the field. I would make the argument offensive line chemistry may be the most important. Not only did he not practice all offseason because of an injury, he also couldn't work with a brand new offensive line group. He also couldn't work with a brand new offensive line coach, James Craig. Colton Miller looks unhealthy. He looks like he's not quite in football shape yet, and he looks like somebody who doesn't have a lot of chemistry, which I'm not going to blame him. At left guard, two different guys, Cody Whitehair, Andres Pete. It's a revolving door right now, but these are all the reasons why he's struggling. Is he cooked? No. If he's playing this bad in a few more weeks down the road, then yeah, I'm not afraid to say that he might be cooked, and if he is continuously playing that bad, this might be Colt Miller's final season with the Raiders, if those things happen. Now, before I get on out of here, I'm going to be live later on today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, if you don't already know that. Then Chugs and I are going to be live on Thursday Night Football. You got to see the costume I have to wear. And then week 3, Raiders, Panthers, home opener at Allegiant Stadium. If you bleed silver and black, I better see you here all 3 days.